Greetings, fellow gangsters. All right, so let me cut to the chase here. Well, one of the chases. My backlog is down to 2 old webcam footage videos, and that is Gojo and Casca. However, I don't really want to be called a liar, so I'm just gonna go ahead and disclose that like 5 or so clips in the Megara video is also old footage, and I guess a good old chunk of my apron dress video. That's gonna be a very much in the future one though. But those are beasts for another day. Today, we're starting with Gojo. It was a commission, and I thought that just black for the outfit was, I don't know, boo! Boring! So I ran a little idea by the client. Anyways, I got a go for said idea. Oh, and I've been doing some aesthetic rebranding in these parts. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so my starting point is a commercial pattern I need to reference and adjust measurements for. I went with this one because of the way the facing is one piece with the front, like so. Oh, what's that? This is a really pretty color-changing mesh I plan on overlaying on all of the black pieces. Yep, this was the idea I ran by the client. Bear with me, I was told the character is pretty extra, and I was inspired by these intense color reflections drawn on his clothing, and I hope to recreate some of that in real life. Of course, it's a delicate operation, so I had to cover it with every single clamp in existence and pins, so that I could safely overlock the edges, both containing the frayed edges and connecting the overlay. 2 birds. You know, I always picture someone literally throwing a stone at 2 birds when I say that, and I'm both saddened and impressed by the mental image. Okay, so since I'm not adding a separate lining for this project, these tails have to be contained. Bada bing, bada boom, it's as easy as that. But yeah, that gets done to every piece. So now there's this piece, these ones, also these, this, and that. So I'm gonna take the these ones and also the these to connect them because they become a sleeve shape. Cat hair free. And you know, I like to assembly line things, so if you're new here, I like to assembly line. So the sides are also clamped. The shoulders, I don't want to connect the facing yet, and so I want to stop right here, so I double pin it to tell myself that I need to stop there. Stop right there! I got pretty lucky that this overlay fabric wasn't super melty with the iron, probably because it's composed of metal threads. Yeah, or something. But it was ironing time. Side seams, and the sleeve hem, ye measuring gauge for ultra accuracy, iron, and clapped for crisp. Now to pin and slap the fabric here. Slap, 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 slap. Patting it mostly, just lightly patting the puckers out of the fabric from having manipulated it. I swear there is a reason why I do this, but seriously, get a load of that crisp. Now, the reason why I didn't secure this was because our boy Gojo here doesn't have a visible closure on his jacket, and I wanted to complicate my life by not using Velcro to do a hidden button situation instead. A bit of interfacing for strength before adding the buttonholes. And now the rest of the shoulder seams can be closed. Now this guy does have a seam right in the front here, but it was more logical to just top stitch said line. The overlay stuff does stretch, so the tearaway interfacing allows me to glide over that. But I didn't trust it enough to just go right in with my top stitching thread, but that's okay, it's safe to stitch on top of it now. I just gotta be accurate. Time to hot mess pattern the collar. Yeah, by the way, this is what my patterning tends to look like for most things. If it works, but it's kind of, excuse my French, butt cheeks to get footage of. Did you enjoy your break? Your break from my stellar, informative words? You'll be pleased to know, if you're not new here, that this collar will not be connected the same way as the last 69 collars that we've connected. So once it's crispy and overlocked shut, it just gets seamed on normally, ironed, and top stitched about a 1/4 inch from the seam to secure the allowance down. Now, one thing you are not free from in this video is hand sewing. I know, I know, shocker. I want to have the hems be invisibly secured to the sleeves, and check that out. You wouldn't even know. Same for the bottom hem. For sleeves, make sure not to do it the wrong way like this, but it's okay, I noticed in time. And I found where it has to ease before pinning the second one on there. I hate easing sleeves, so let's skip to the buttons. Now I'm realizing I don't have a lot to tell you in the cutaways in this video. Yep. Hey, you ever try these? They're pretty good. I get them at Walmart. They're cheaper there. Get them at Walmart. So I'm editing this right now, and there's just a gaping hole in narration over here, and I'm not sure if there used to be something here or not. But anyways, I mean, you have eyes. You see what I'm doing right there. So. All right, let's get these pants going. The fabric was prepared earlier, so right into the fly front. And this was my first time doing a fly front, and so the footage is just as confused as I likely was at the time. After the initial seam, you can witness my confusion towards why the zipper goes on this way. But alright, that's what the book says, so I'll trust it. Here's, what it looks like so far. And next was the top stitching. No, not yet. Okay, now. Okay, so now I do have something to tell you, and it's that maybe one day I will show you this, properly, but I will tell you what book I was looking at. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I'll link her video in the description too. There's video of it as well. What's important, though, is that the instructions worked. I'm pretty sure I used every inch of this fabric, so the pockets are just getting a little shield piece that looks like it's continuous. And that is why I cut out every single piece at the start. I knew I was going to be playing some fabric chicken, as one does. Sewn down with the pocket openings. Listen, I'll have a better video for pockets like this in the future. I just really want to get through this old footage so you can have, cleaner, crispier footage in the future. Near future now. I mentioned a little bit of this earlier, but my goal for 2025 was to get through the backlog. I wouldn't call it a New Year's resolution. Not a huge fan of that. I just try to do good and do better all the time. I didn't succeed. I didn't get through the backlog, obviously, because here we are in 2026. But the progress was really, really good, so I do consider it a win. And also I did extra things this year, like, vlogs and things. But after this video, I will be down to 1 old footage video, as I mentioned earlier, Casca. 3 videos ranging from old footage to, like, relatively new to new footage. And 2 or 3 videos that are currently still in process of gathering footage. So those are new, for sure. So realistically, 1 old footage, 3 new ones. That's not the goal, but I am super proud of the progress that I did make, and I feel a lot less stressed out looking at that folder now, as you could imagine. But what else that means is that I can start doing more stuff. I can do, like, photo shoot vlogs and more miscellaneous stuff. I'll figure it out when the time comes, but, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Just had to update you guys on that. The pants can now be closed up. The waistband is going to be nothing fancy. Of course, it's hidden by a jacket. Just a long rectangle, relatively narrow, stitched on all the way around like bias tape, I suppose. A hook and bar for the closure to keep the, invisible closure theme going here. And it was on to the next thing. Now, I don't know much about this guy, but I imagine he has some sort of anime ability to see beyond the blindfold, or maybe it's like a Rock Lee wearing weights to hold back his full potential, or maybe it's a Cyclops type thing from X-Men. But that's cool and all for him, but as normal humans, I need to make sure my client can see through this thing. Just a quick update at G-Anime this weekend. Somebody told me it's more of like a Twilight situation with the eye thing.
Like Twilight.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with 2 layers of this organza type stuff over 1 layer of black cotton. And I'm leaving this open so that I can access them for the next step. A step which involves cyclist goggles. Now once I mark the lens area, I can cut them out for optimal peakage. And it's sanded for grippage. And contact cement is applied, and I have to figure out how in God's name I'm going to go about this. It seems simpler than it actually is, but the solution came in the form of a sleeve board. The shine of the organza was actually a strategic plan because the lenses from the goggles have a little reflections, and those kind of get blended in and excused by the reflections in this fabric. See, I think of things sometimes, huh? Now it can be closed up. Though I got to this point and realized I had to take the plate off of the machine so that the goggles could lay more flat. Wig. Now listen here, I'm no wig wizard, alright? And yes, I know this guy's hair is supposed to be white, but they sent me the wrong color. So I figured I would just airbrush it when it was done. I didn't want to waste the wig, but a white one from the start would have been way, way better. I know I need more hair than this up at the front, so these salvaged wefts get sewn in. It was fine in the end, but I now know to crimp the hair at an angle so that it doesn't fall with crimp lines like all lining up in a row. And check it out, it already looks so much poofier. Now, I wish I had known back in the day how magical a steamer is with a wig. It literally bends to your will, it is insane. And this alone was enough to make me feel like a wig wizard's apprentice, at least. Apprentice. So the way I'm doing these spikes is a way I saw Cost Creation Studios do it. I'll link her down below too. I'll probably mention her just under every single time I do a wig on this channel. I really wish I had known all of this back when I made my Junkrat wig. The idea here is to tease it, steam it, and brush it back out so that it gets even more teasable, poofy texture. And then it can be steamed into its final light tease and shape. Rinse and repeat. Of course, the hair gets thinned and trimmed. Oh, and there's hairspray involved, of course. Wig styling is always a bit of a stressful process for me. It's a lot, and it gets overwhelming, but pushing through and getting to the end, I'm always really happy with what I've learned and how I've improved since the last one. Now, there were some blank spots that needed spikes, so I decided to try this bag sealer weft making method. Took some getting used to know how much hair to use, how long to hold it, but it works. I will say though, it's only really good for these wefts that you plan on like gluing to stuff in this way. It's not really the type of weft you should be able to see at the base. For that, do the glued ones. You'll see in the Morrigan video. And then I just shoved glue on it and shoved it in its spot. And as I said earlier, so that you can't call me a liar, the airbrushing. I would love to use that color shifting overlay on something in the future, and there is something in my like list of choices of things to make that it would go really great for, but I'll see if I want to actually make that cosplay because it's from something I've never really watched. It's like an anime character, and as you guys know, I don't really watch anime very much, kind of at all. So guys, one down. We're about to kiss the old footage goodbye, guys. I can feel it. And of course, I appreciate you guys coming on the journey with me and putting up with the old footage so that I could tackle it all and get it out of the way. Of course, you know, this is probably like weeks after New Year this is going up, or like, yeah. But Happy New Year, guys. Happy 2026. You've crossed the threshold. I don't know what I'm saying half the time in this video. This is, yeah. 2026 is the year that backlog will officially be slain, and I can focus on the present. Of course, as always, thank you to my Twitch subscribers. Your support is greatly appreciated. And I will see you guys soon, hopefully. And what video am I editing next? I might just straight up do Casca next, just to say that like the 2 old footage ones are gone. I might be a liar, but probably not. Anyways, you guys have a good one. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, Godspeed. And don't forget to kiss your homies. Did the camera move since I started recording? Ow. Yeah, it did. A little. Anyways.